Everybody is weighing themselves wrong. It's been taught so badly over the years, and in this video, I'm going to give you the exact blueprint to how to weigh yourself. I'm not talking about just stepping on the scales, how to specifically do it over the course of time to allow success to occur. And the key word there is allow. People are weighing themselves so often without a real understanding of their body. And because people are so outcome driven rather than being process driven, this is a real problem towards long-term weight loss, because invariably when it doesn't go down like people think it's supposed to, they just stop doing the right processes, and therefore it's going to be even bumpier to the point where it's just not a thing until we get motivated again. I am on a mission to support people with their weight loss, bariatric patients specifically, but also beyond, because I do believe that everyone has the capability of success when it comes to their weight loss. And there's numerous reasons why there's so much confusion out there. I think it's important to understand this, and I'll also give you the understanding of how to break through stalls, because this seems to be the most frustrating thing when people are doing everything right, they're staying the same weight, and it just doesn't seem to come off. And there is an art to it, and I'm going to give you everything you need to know in this video. One of the reasons it's so confusing is that history has dictated to be method-led with your diet. It used to be extremely difficult to track calories. It used to be extremely difficult to track macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats. So companies were very keen to find methods to make it easier. So for example, I'm not going to go at them, but Slimming World came along in the 1960s, and they created a method where if you adhere to this, weight loss occurs, and you weigh yourself weekly. I think you pay a £5 to go and weigh yourself, which shows the power of community, the power of accountability. These are two massive factors towards weight loss. And to be fair to Slimming World, they got that right. But the problem is that when you're weighing weekly without a good understanding of the body, and the only people who got success with Slimming World are people who did Slimming World, which while that sounds good on paper, when it invariably doesn't go down, because weight loss will always do that, if there's not an understanding as to why, people are just going to sack it off and stop doing it. And from this point, more methods came along to try and make it as consistent as possible. But the fundamental truth is, the body is not designed to lose weight on a week-to-week basis, because the whole goal is fat loss. And we are not just fat. We are water, we are muscle, we are bone, we are fat. But water weight specifically, your body is actually trying its best to counter weight loss on a dehydration basis. It's constantly seeking homeostasis, to creating things in itself to protect itself from being dehydrated. And water is not just how much water you drink. It's based on your stress levels, your fiber levels, your sodium levels, how much you've sweat, how much you've gone to the toilet, how many carbohydrates you've eaten, when was the last meal. You're not going to get all those right day to day. It is not possible, to the point where I'm even doing that. So please, please, please realize that weight will vary on this nature. Girls, time of the month. It's going to vary from the follicular phase, 2 weeks pre-ovulation, compared to the luteal phase, 2 weeks after ovulation. So collecting weekly data and being defined by it is a real problem. And the truth be told is, the best way of doing this is, if you want to weigh weekly, fine, but compare monthly. I understand a month can be a long time and we want to see results quickly, but surely to God, we have noticed that maybe the quick road is not the answer. It's probably worth collecting data over the course of a time and adapting our diet accordingly. And if you do hit a stall, and let me rephrase that. When you hit a stall, this is how you push through it. Number one, identify actually how compliant you've been. Because to be honest with you, another reason why weight stalls is just people don't do the right thing, okay? We create the illusion we might do it Monday to Wednesday, maybe even Monday to Friday, but then Friday night, Saturday and Sunday we don't do it. So that means we've done 4 days, Monday to Thursday, and we've not done Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The body doesn't care if it's the weekend. I agree that everyone should have a balance, and everyone should have a social life. But if we're doing this 4-3 split, weight loss is going to stall. It's going to be a lot slower, mainly because we're just not being compliant ourselves. So the first thing to do is to say, of these 30 days, how many days have I actually been compliant? I would encourage you to tick how much protein you've hit. What have your calories been if you are tracking? Have you exercised? Have you got outside and walked? All these things that we know are good for weight loss. What's your sleep quality like? These are things that we know are going to really aid weight loss long term. And if they're not on point, of course it's going to be bumpy. So the first question actually to ask yourself is to be honest, tick boxes on a calendar and say, how often as a percentage have I actually been compliant? And in my opinion, if you've been compliant 80% of the time, so sort of over 25, 26 days or so in a calendar month, you should have elicited some sort of weight loss, because you don't have to get it right, be perfect, but it helps to be pretty consistent with this stuff. Once you've identified that you have been totally compliant, option 2 is, okay, weight might not have gone down, but has fat loss occurred? have we taken before and after photos? Are we taking inches at the same time? Are we looking at clove sizes? Because it can be quite common that people may lose 1, 2, 3, even 5 pounds of fat. This big yellow thing up here is 5 pounds of fat. It's a tremendous difference to your body. But water weight can fluctuate quite a bit. You might be gaining muscle because you're doing a very good thing and lifting in the gym. Now, you're not going to lift and gain 5 pounds of muscle in that time frame, but there could be certain balances out of sync where actually fat loss is occurring and weight is just stayed the same for that month. So please make sure that on any weight loss journey, you're taking photos front, back and side, and you're indeed checking clove sizes and inches, because you can be losing body fat while weight is staying the same. And truth be told, that's the goal. Who cares if weight stays the same when you're noticing these differences? And number 3, and this is the one I'm going to spend quite a lot of time on. So we're weighing weekly, we're comparing monthly. We've noticed a stool has occurred, we've identified that we're being compliant, and we've identified that even on before and after photos and clove sizes aren't really changing within a month. It is then when I would probably say, right, okay, is it worth me just tracking calories for a period of time to see what's going on here? Because as much as we're trying to adhere to certain methods, optimal protein being 1 gram of protein versus pound of body weight, fluids being 2 to 3 litres, we're exercising 2-3 times a week, we're getting our steps in daily, it seems that something's not quite right here, let's just track. Now, some people are quite funny about tracking calories, and I understand that. It's been taught very badly in the past, but truth be told is when taught correctly, we're actually looking at ways to fuel ourselves, to energise ourselves, to live an active lifestyle while losing weight. It's a balancing act. It's no different to checking your bank statement, to making sure the money in and out is making sense, to make sure that you can afford certain things in the future. We do it day to day with our money. We should be able to do it day to day with our food. There can be an emotional connection, but again, I believe when taught correctly by people who actually know what they're talking about, I am pointing at myself there, compared to say someone who's just got a result doing a certain thing. I'm not on here saying you've got to go keto, you've got to go vegan. You can do whatever you want, but please appreciate the science that a calorie deficit is where fat loss lives. So tracking calories could be a good idea, because if weight loss isn't occurring for over a month and you feel like you're doing everything right, it feels like something might be off piece there. The best way to describe it is if you're driving in your car, you could probably guess under 70 miles an hour on the motorway. You can feel it. You can probably guess a healthy diet. But if you're not losing weight as part of your healthy diet, if you keep getting speeding tickets because you're assessing under 70 miles an hour wrong, it's probably an idea to check the speedometer for a bit and get used to the new feeling and notice that actually what you were doing in the first place wasn't quite the correct thing to do. Same thing with tracking calories. If we can guess it, fine, do it. If you can't, it's probably an idea to check what's going in, because there's certain habits, there's certain cravings, there's certain emotional connections that we know can make it so we consume more calories without even knowing it sometimes, because it's just the way we are as humans, right? Common sense is not common practice. Just adding that extra layer of accountability, what I spoke about earlier on about Slim World, can be really, really helpful. Now, once you've done option 3, one of 2 things is going to happen going forwards, as long as you've got somebody external to work with. Is 1, you will start tracking calories, and a lot of the time fat loss starts to occur, weight loss starts to occur. You give it another month and you have an extra appreciation and a desire to go again because you've broken through that stall and you've built resilience by doing so. Or you stay the same again for another month, but this time you've got tangible data to look at. You can go to that external person, you can indeed look at it yourself and maybe go, oh, okay, it's not quite what I thought it was, and make adjustments accordingly based on whatever information and data you have to go by. So it might be a case of maybe lowering carbs and increasing protein slightly, because maybe your protein is actually shorter than you thought it was. It might be the fact that you are absolutely fine Monday to Saturday, but you have 5,000-6,000 calories on a Sunday, and as a lighter individual, that's going to impact your deficit. There can be different factors here, but it will really identify habits. It will really identify a tangibility towards this stuff. And that's super important, because we know weight loss can be so emotional. So the idea that we can create a tangible metric to aim for on a day-to-day basis to reassess our habits can only be a good thing. If you do that, within 2 months or so, you could be breaking through that stall. But not just that, learn new lessons, new habits to build going forwards, and that can only be a good thing. I really hope you enjoyed that video. I'm bringing out 30 videos in 30 days, so please hit subscribe. Please weigh yourself weekly and compare monthly. None of this day-to-day, week-to-week thing. You can do that, but don't be defined by it, because it will be a hell of a lot bumpier. And from that, you can identify stalls by A, making sure that you're actually being compliant, B, checking other metrics of success, because fat loss could be occurring while weight stays the same, and C, tracking calories to maybe make sure that we are doing what we think we're doing. And from that, I assure you, you will break through that stall and be able to progress onwards away from just weight loss through all other metrics, which is super exciting indeed. All the best from me. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.